Welcome back, everyone. Today we will be discussing the Jordan 4 Lightning once again. Specifically, we will be discussing whether you should sell or hold the Jordan 4 Lightning and why that is. To preface this, if you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you're always 100% updated. Furthermore, for more urgent updates like the recent Off-White exclusive access drops we've been seeing, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and personals for you. For those who don't know, the Jordan 4 Lightning releases on August 28th, tomorrow. Retail will be $220 for men's sizes, $150 for grade school, $80 for preschool, and $60 for toddler. Although we'll just be focusing on men's sizes in today's video, you could still expect the grade school pairs to react proportionally. In order to determine if the Jordan 4 Lightning will be a fruitful hold, we will cover an estimated range of what the sneaker will settle at after the drop, also when shipments come in, essentially the pairs going into circulation, whether they're expected to increase post-drop or even hypothetically decrease, along with how much specifically over specific periods of time, and finally, what type of margin are we looking at for these in terms of holding, essentially the ROI. Are these actually going to be worth your time or not? Kicking it off, let's discuss the estimated range that these should be settling at. To begin with, stock for all sizes combined worldwide is just over 160,000 pairs. This is more than what we normally see for Jordan 4s. The sale volume is certainly very high for these as well. The amount they're selling for is also very notable for a general release Jordan 4, hovering around $290 to $300 12 hours before the drop. As you'll see, there's an absolutely massive amount of sales that have been recorded on StockX alone within just the past 3 hours at these very impressive prices for a Jordan 4. This is precisely what we want to see when it comes to these. Now, the downside for these is, of course, the retail being quite high at $220 for the men's sizes, and the stock also being quite high for Jordan 4. However, the sale volume at these high prices still reflect immense demand. This makes perfect sense since this is a grail for many people and has not dropped since 2006. Now, regarding a specific range, prices have already seen the vast majority of their decrease following the early access pairs going into circulation, which was about 15,000 pairs for the men's sizes and 6,000 for grade school, along with general early pairs and flex app reservation pre-sellers. This leaves the current average for them at about $300 for sizes 7 to 14. This is certainly what we do want to see for a general release Jordan 4. We normally see a notable change post-US drop. This is when we normally experience what I like to refer to as the impulsivity effect. You guys should know what I'm referring to by now, as we discuss it on this channel very frequently, yet it almost always still occurs to at least some degree. Regarding the impulsivity effect, if you haven't watched my seller hold videos before, sneaker drops specifically impact human impulsiveness significantly after an individual fails to acquire that desired product due to insufficient supply and too much demand. Therefore, on average, we normally see about a 10% increase of the pre-drop prices post-drop. Now, that 10% is not always the case, such as when a sneaker is already slightly overvalued or when there is just in general very, very low demand. A recent example of this was when the Jordan 1 Court Purple released, which we did not see the impulsivity effect at all for, as expected, and now we're also seeing why I rated these a 2.5 out of 10 hold, which is one of the worst I've ever given. Another example of which more recently was on the Jordan 1 Fusion Red, which also did not see the positive impulsivity effect, but was not as bad as the metallic Court Purples. Although I do feel that these certainly have the demand to garner a notable impulsivity effect, I also feel that the current price of $300 already justifies that quite well. However, I do believe we may see at least another 5% increase for these prices post-drop. So not as significant as that lovely 10% that we were hoping for, but it should at least be positive due to the immense demand regardless of the very high stock. This would potentially leave us with a post-drop average of a little over $315. Although retail is $220, this still would certainly leave plenty of room for profit. So again, not too much of a post-drop increase due to the high stock, but still positive nonetheless. Keep this number in mind because we'll be revisiting this number when deciding whether you should sell or hold. Remember, these will just be the post-drop prices for a finite period of time. But now, with that out of the way, let us discuss what prices will look like once shipments go out within that 1 to 2 week range. During this period, the vast majority of pairs will be going into circulation, aside from the amount of pairs that already went out through exclusive access and in-store pairs. When it comes to these decent-sized releases, the effects are normally very noticeable, often up into the range of 15%, especially if the shoe has quite low demand. For these, I'm expecting these to decrease by a fair amount, but less than what we normally see, specifically because of the incredible demand and already quite reasonable prices post-drop that I'm expecting. Hence, at the moment, I'm only estimating that we might see about a 9% decrease of these post-drop prices. This would then leave prices just shy of, hypothetically, $290 on average after about 2 weeks of shipments going out. So this could potentially leave plenty of room for profit for those of you without taxing your state at even the worst time to sell these, and still a little lunch money with a poor margin for those with tax, again, if you're selling at the worst time. Remember, retail is $220 for these, not $190. But now, with the average price range at those points in time evident, let us discuss whether they're expected to increase from this post-drop shipment price or hypothetically decrease. So the first pair that comes to mind for me when evaluating these was the recent Jordan 4 White Oreo. These also had decent stock, not quite as much as the Lightning Jordan 4s do, but still a general release Jordan 4 good amount of stock. They also had high demand, but not as much, again, as these Lightning. Hence their price reflection seems to be almost proportional to these Jordan 4 Lightnings. These White Oreos have already increased by a notable amount in such a short period of time, and I do believe they have a little more room to go in the future as well. With how great those performed, I do believe that these Jordan 4 Lightnings could very well see the same fate. Although, due to the higher stock, it may just take a little bit longer than how we saw the White Oreos increase. Regardless, I certainly do see these increasing. Remember, the immense sale volume at the high price for this pair makes perfect sense. These are an absolute grail for many and have not dropped since 2006. There's a very good reason that Nike knew they could drop these for $30 above the average retail for Jordan 4. Finally, regarding the hold margin on these, essentially, are these actually going to be worth your time or not? Similar to the Jordan 4 White Oreo, although yes, we did see them increase by a notable amount, the margin is still nothing too crazy. Since they were going for about $275 to $280 after the drop, this would then leave you with about a 30% ROI. Now, that is still a good ROI, do not get me wrong, just nothing too crazy since they were already quite high in value. This is similar to what we may see with the Lightning Jordan 4s, so a good ROI, but nothing too crazy. However, since these do carry a lot of history behind them and are many folks' grails, in the very long-term future, we could potentially see some pretty insane prices for these, despite the high stock. So within about 1 year, I'm expecting a good ROI, similar to what we're seeing with the Jordan 4 Oreo, nothing crazy. However, I do believe these have the potential to actually continue increasing in the long term, even after that. Therefore, I decided to rate this a 6.5 out of 10 hold, essentially above average. Although the potential ROI within 1 year is not insane, it certainly still is good, just like the Jordan 4 White Oreos. It's not bad at all. I do believe these also have much more potential beyond that 1 year horizon as well, hence I rated these slightly above average. I am personally planning to hold a few pairs of these, sizes 10.5 to 12, but not all of my pairs. Also, just a note in general for anyone considering holding any items who have low capital, you should never hold anything in general if you don't have sufficient capital to go for as many drops as possible at your full potential without holding back. If you do need money to go for all drops, try to sell these as soon as possible during that impulsivity effect as soon as you get your shipments in. Let me know what you guys are doing with your pairs in the comments down below. Since this is just a discussion at the end of the day, I can't predict the future. That's just my personal analysis based on the data I've acknowledged from prior releases. We have a lot of brilliant minds watching this video right now, so I implore you guys to share your notions in the comment section as well. I look forward to reading them. Anyway, that will conclude it for today. Remember that the limited endurance restock will take place on September 1st, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. CEST. The link and password will be tweeted from Endurance's Twitter. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, or perhaps if you learned a thing or two, and of course, subscribe to stay 100% updated on all these types of releases in the future. Also, feel free to check out the links in the description below for reliable, fast, residential proxies and pre-verified Nike sneakers or Adidas accounts. Also, feel free to follow Gargantua's Twitter if you want to keep up with the progress or free beta key drops, like the one we actually just did yesterday. Last but not least, make sure to follow KeithAdam10 and Personals for you, so you guys stay updated on all the urgent info like I was discussing today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.